Welcome, climate viewers. It is 2026. It's been a minute. Haven't been here for quite a while. I got a lot of things going on in the background in my life, and we're going to talk about metals. Heavy metal from the plane farts, the chemtrails, the contrails, the aviation-induced cloudiness. Where's the metal coming from? What about the graphene? Let's talk about the metals and the graphene. I'm not going to waste your time today. Let's get right into it. So I've had this webpage for quite some time, and you guys may or may not know about it. I'm going to drop it in chat for those who haven't seen the old version of the website. Shaboom. ClimateViewer.com/cirruscloudsmatter. And on this page, since I want to say like 2015-ish, I've had a PowerPoint presentation on the entire topic, even a Chemtrails for Dummies version of the video that you can watch. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about metals. So let's talk about the metals detected in jet exhaust. And I want to clarify the purpose of this video. For a very long time, there have been so many people who go, Jim Lee's the jet fuel guy. And Jim Lee is saying that it is additives in the jet fuel that are causing my chemtrails. Now, even though I, advised Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on this, and he went on Dr. Phil and he said, and I quote, "We believe that the chemtrails are coming from the jet fuel. It's something they put in the jet fuel, and we believe it's DARPA." Still butchering things. So what I want to do with this video is clarify where we're at, clarify what I'm going to be doing in the future to remediate the damage that has been done by all the confusion surrounding what I'm actually saying, and make it very clear to everybody. That is the purpose of this video. So, for those who don't know about this study, this is Abigail et al. 2016, chemical characterization of freshly emitted particulate matter from aircraft exhaust using single particle mass spectrometry. The purpose of this study is to figure out what is coming out of the plane farts. So, and then how is that affecting the sky? How is that related to geoengineering? Is it actually geoengineering? Making clouds, not really geoengineering. We could go into that in greater detail in another video. Not doing that today. Just making myself clear. I don't want to, get too in the weeds on this. I want to blaze through this like I'm speed running freaking Minecraft. So, to that end, I created a new website. It's called chemtrailfacts.com. Chemtrail Facts is my new website. Now, many of you are familiar with weathermodificationhistory.com. The purpose of it was to give you all the facts minus my opinions, just facts. A reference guide for people to understand the topic. So, Chemtrail Facts is only about 5% done. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you everything else that's going to go into this website. And this metal breakdown that we're about to do is just the beginning. We're already 4 minutes in. I barely talked about it. Let's just get to it. I'm not going to go through the whole damn website, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff here on how contrails are formed, debunking some of the things that have been said about the pumps and pipes, and, a timeline of how we got here and why there's so many damn clouds today, in addition to how to track the flights and how to predict when the chemtrails are going to appear. So you can do all of that live from here. You can go straight over here, click on this, click the contrail finder, and see that we got long, possibly persistent contrails right here. We're in Arkansas. Down here where I'm in South Carolina, we're looking at the same thing from 39,000 feet all the way down to 32,000 feet. We're going to have my chemtrails. This is all in real time, and you can pretty much predict what's going to happen on the next day. In addition to being able to click the contrail finder, you can click on the radiosonde data itself, and you can see the skew-T plot for all of this. More information on how to read all of this in a future video, But regardless, the links are available on chemtrailfacts.com. As I said, under construction is going to be much to come, like what we're going over today. Now, these numbers I have not presented to anybody. We're going to dig a little deeper into the Aviation particle study on how the metals are coming out of the jet exhaust. And then we're also going to talk about how fuel engine lubricants, the oil that's used in jet engine, is leading to cloud formation. So we're going to do all that right now, and I'm going to race through it. We're going to start with, did you know that in 2019, 44 million pounds of nanoparticles came out of jets and created clouds and rained down on you, period. This is not an argument. This is not something you can just swish away. Debunkers, suck it. Chemtrailers, suck it. These are the facts. They're undisputed. All right, indisputable. I'm going to bring something up real quick from Grok right now because I believe we kind of need an understanding. I believe I have it in I had all of my bookmarks up except for this. So I'm going to see if I can quickly, they have changed the daggone interface. See, oh, no. So I had one on NVPM versus PM, and I just wanted to make it very easy for people to understand. Maybe it was over on X, because grok.com and X are different. You know what? We'll go back to that in a second. Anyway, short and sweet version. Right here. The high-resolution global aviation emissions inventory based on ADS-B Gaia for 2019. For those who don't know what ADS-B is, it's Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast. This is how you track planes. A great example of this would be globe.adsbexchange.com, where you can actually see, yeah, I got an ad blocker on, not turning it off, where you can actually see all of these planes are being tracked in real time using ADS-B transponders. That is why the website is called adsbexchange.com. Now, in this paper, you will see some numbers that are kind of staggering if you've never seen this before. In 2019, we're only going to read one sentence out of this. I'm not going to bore you with the whole paper, but this one kind of matters a lot. In 2019, 40.2 million flights collectively traveled 61 billion kilometers using 283 teragrams of fuel, leading to CO2, NOx, and non-volatile particulate matter mass and number emissions of 893 teragrams, 4.49 teragrams, 21.4 gigagrams, and 2.8 times 10 to the 26 respectively. Now they're in order, okay? So we're talking about fuel, right here, fuel leading to CO2, 893 teragrams, NOx, 4.49 teragrams, and 21.4 gigagrams of my metals, my NVPM. Okay, so non-volatile particulate matter. What is this and why does it matter? It matters because if you don't know what NVPM is, we're talking about things like, let's go here, NVPM in jet exhaust, so you guys know. NVPM and jet exhaust typically is a soot and metals. God, what a failure on this part. I should have just had my primarily soot, black carbon, plus some metal ash or other solid components from fuel and oil impurities formations. Forms in high temperature environments like gas turbine combustors. This is what non-volatile particulate matter is, okay? So that's what we're looking for. So we're going to go, what's a gigagram? So it's a 21.7 gigagrams. I'm just going to do the math right in front of everybody. GG. So that's about 21 million grams. Let's go right here. 21 million grams. That's 21 billion grams. 21 billion grams to pounds. That is 47,840,310 pounds of freaking nanoparticles. Now, I just want that to sink in for a second. You think about how small a nanoparticle is. That is an insane amount. How insane is this amount? 44 million pounds of nanoparticles. Well, other people would say, compared to other pollution sources, it's not that much. What matters about it is it happens in the UTLS, the upper troposphere, lower stratosphere. Where am I? Oh, upper troposphere, lower stratosphere. Well, you know, I got a picture for that, obviously. So here we go. That is happening here. So this is the stratosphere. This is the tropopause. It is happening right along here at the tropopause. The troposphere is from the ground up to about 39-ish thousand feet. Depends on where you are in the world. If you're at the equator or if at the North Pole, it's higher or lower. But regardless, we're talking about flights happening between 30,000 to 45,000, 9 to 13 kilometers, generally in the range of around, let's say 10 to about 15 kilometers is the tropopause. That is the mixing zone between the troposphere and the stratosphere. That is where all of these chemicals that we are talking about right now are going. 44 million pounds of that. Why does that matter? Because if you don't know this, emissions of ultrafine particles, anything under PM 2.5 is known as a UFP. Ultrafine particles, Canberra says, funny how they call it non-volatile. The reason why they call it non-volatile, volatile particulate matter are things like gases, like sulfuric acid, sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide can turn into sulfuric acid. It can change forms. So volatile particulate matter are things like CO2, NOx, SO2, things like that. More of the gaseous types, but what we're going to find here in just a minute is that some of these, like the graphene nanoparticles, the black carbon, which is actually onion-shaped graphene, which are single particle nanoparticles, they're actually being called volatile particulate matter. So non-volatile, volatile, does it change or not? Is really comes down to. Is it static and that is what it's going to be, or is it volatile? It's subject to change in the atmosphere later on. Great question though. Great comment at the very least. So, emissions of ultrafine particles from civil aircraft, dependence on aircraft type and passenger load. Not going to bore you out reading the whole paper to you. All of this stuff is going to be broken down for a 5-year-old on chemtrailfacts.com. When you support the channel, that's what you're supporting. You're supporting all the development and work that goes into creating these websites. If you'll go to connect.climateviewer.com, I would greatly appreciate it. Over there on connect.climateviewer.com, you can find all of my things, except for chemtrail facts right now. If you go to climateviewer.com right now, you'll see that on the front page of climateviewer.com, I have updated my, profile thing, and chemtrailfacts.com is linked there. I meant to update this page, but it will be there. You can join my Substack newsletter. All the details from this video, the links that are being provided right now, will be in an article on my Substack tomorrow. You can join our Telegram chat where we have absolutely phenomenal mods over there and community members who know their stuff. If you want to bring your questions, this is the place to bring them. Follow me on the Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey. My Odyssey's dead. I don't know why it's still up there. Used to it would pull from my YouTube, doesn't anymore. I'm most active on X because I'm constantly trolling. You'll see a little bit more of that later in the video. Instagram and Facebook is kind of dead, but the links are still there. You can buy some t-shirts and swag like that. But if you want to support the channel, you can do that by going to Patreon, giving a one-time donation on PayPal, Cash App, Gibson, Go, Buy Me a Coffee, or just becoming a paid subscriber on Substack. All of your donations go to help me build my YouTube studio in my backyard, get me out of this bedroom, and continue to work on chemtrailfacts.com. Because by the end of this video, I promise you, when you see what's going on this website, you will realize this is going to piss a lot of people off. And it's going to make a whole lot of people go, finally, I can see the whole picture. Now I get where the hell Jim Lee's coming from. Now I can see the rest of the story. Only with your support, I greatly appreciate it. So back to this thing. So why am I bringing this paper up? Because this actually tells us how many nanoparticles per second are coming out of planes. So when we scroll down to here, I'm going to just keep scrolling. I'm not going to bore you with everything else on this paper. It's a long way down, but as we get to right here, this is bar chart of calculated average and literature departure and arrival particle number emissions rates. This is emission rate by number per second of nanoparticles, the ultra fine particles coming out per second. On an Airbus A320, 32X, Boeing 737, Boeing 757, we're talking about 10 quadrillion ultrafine particles per second. That is 10 with that's a 1 with 16 zeros behind it. Okay? A quadrillion is a million times a billion. Just for, like for your, trying to wrap your head around it. It's a big ass number, okay? Over here on the Airbus 330, 340, 350, 380, Boeing 747, 767, 777, and 787, they are over 100 quadrillion nanoparticles per second. That's how much exhaust is coming out. Why does this matter? This is what the water sticks to make the clouds you see in the sky. That matters. Okay? These are cloud condensation nuclei. They are what, in the right conditions, the water sticks to make the ice that makes the cloud that blocks out the sun. 100 quadrillion nanoparticles per second while flying. This paper you saw earlier, where I was showing you this, this bar chart, this periodic table I made of all the metals. In the study, the detected metallic compounds were all internally mixed with soot particles. Okay, so this is black carbon. This is when you have improper burn, doesn't burn the fuel well enough, and then metals, which are impurities already in the jet fuel, and the oils and fuel lubricants, as we're going to see in just a moment, not just the jet fuels. This has nothing to do with additives. It can have something to do with additives, but jet fuel by itself already has these chemicals in them. And then on top of that, there's more to the story. Most abundant metals found in exhaust were chromium, iron, molybdenum, sodium, calcium, aluminum, vanadium, barium, cobalt, copper, nickel, lead, magnesium, manganese, silicon, titanium, zirconium were also detected. Okay, that's a lot of freaking chemicals. So where did I get that from? That came from this paper right here. Chemical characterization of freshly emitted particulate matter from aircraft exhaust using single particle mass spectrometry. This is a way of actually looking at the particles and determining what they are. As you can see, for those who don't know this name, Ulrich Lohmann was a part of this study. Kind of a big friggin' deal. But anyway, a lot of these people from ETH Zurich in Switzerland. Pretty great, pretty epic study. But, and that's what I use to create this infographic, to show people, this is what we're talking about. Everything in red, people think about just aluminum, barium, strontium. Well, aluminum's here, strontium and barium are here. Now, a lot of people use the term heavy metal all the time. Hell, I used it in the title. But most people don't even realize what a heavy metal is. So the point I'm trying to make is this, that, barium and strontium, you have to get past a certain molecular weight before something becomes a heavy metal. For the record, aluminum is not a heavy metal. Just saying. For all the people who are saying that aluminum is not a heavy metal, you haven't been paying attention. You need to science more. Anyway, so metals detected in the exhaust particle. And this is new. I have not showed this to anybody before. This is actually from a PowerPoint presentation on the paper I just showed you. And this PowerPoint presentation is done by Ulrich Lohmann specifically. Now, in it, you can see metals detected, abundance, max value. Greater than 10% of the metal particles found were sodium, iron, calcium, and chromium. 1 to 10% silicon, aluminum, cobalt, copper, molybdenum, and magnesium. Less than 1% were vanadium, manganese, nickel, barium, titanium, and lead, and zirconium. So this comes from the same paper that we're talking about, the Abigailin study from 2016, and they go through, most abundant elements in jet A1, most abundant elements in mobile jet oil, and you can see right here, they're broken down by category and by number. So you can see it's quite different, okay? You got PB, Fe, that's lead, that's iron, aluminum, vanadium, this is calcium, believe that's strontium? No, that's sulfur. What the hell is that? That's sodium. Excuse me. S is sodium. What to failtard? He does not know his, I thought it was sulfur because sulfur is S, so that's why I'm looking at it going, can't be sulfur. That's a lot of freaking sulfur, bro. If that's sulfur, man, we in trouble. But anyway, you can look through this inductive coupled plasma mass spectrometry results from jet fuel and lubricant oils. So these are the results of the actual trace amounts, but it doesn't really go into all of that. What you want to see up here is that what they basically did was, they actually put a jet engine in here's the jet engine they used. They put it in a test, simulator room, burnt that bad boy, sniffed its plane farts, and it went like this. So got a probe here. We're gonna got the particulate matter instrumentation, and goes in the ATOFMS aerosol time of flight mass spectrometer. Not gonna get any, I nerd out on this stuff. Hey man, I don't expect you guys to nerd out like me, but I nerd out on this stuff. So this is how they go about determining how many chemicals were coming out of the butt of a plane. But you can't argue with it because this has actually been confirmed by multiple other studies. I just lean on this study because it's the easiest to understand, and because I just happen to not only have the original paper, but I also have a PowerPoint presentation by Ulrich Lohmann on that exact same paper. So now I can actually show you why they did it, what was in it. All of this will be available on chemtrailfacts.com in the near future. Which brings us to a new study that just came out this past year. Onion-like nanoparticles found in aircraft exhaust, revealed by high-resolution transmission electron microscopy. And in it, you can see here a couple different things. But the part I want people to focus on is this. Oh my God. The onion-like particles have different dynamics in the atmosphere and in the body compared to other particles. Therefore, further research is needed to understand their health, climate, and health implications. Further analysis suggests that these three types of particles that they found are volatile particles formed from via nucleation and condensation downstream of the engine and mainly consist of organic compounds originating from lubrication oil. How about them apples? Now, I've said this, since like 2015, that the three main components of metals that you're getting behind aircraft are not just jet fuel. They're also engine oils, lubrication oils, and erosion of metal particles, metal parts in jet engines, like the fan blades, like the turbines, inside the combustor chambers. All of this stuff is breaking down in radiation up in the air. So it's not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of things that are leading to this chemical trail that's making these clouds. But understanding that's pretty tough for a lot of people. Now, in this picture right here, they've got a really good showing, shows exactly what's going on here. At the engine exit, you have soot agglomerates. They're turbostatic soot. This is black carbon, diameter 67 nanometers. But then just 15 meters downstream from the engine exit, this is what makes this study pretty interesting, onion-like particles that are only 17 nanometers, which you can see right here. The onion you're seeing is layers and layers and layers of graphene, one after another layer, like an onion. That is graphene. Because black carbon is carbon, because graphene and graphite are fundamentally elemental carbon, just in a different formation, these are big graphene M&Ms filled with the metals that we were talking about early. As the paper said, all the detected metallic particles were internally mixed with soot particles. So when I come back here and I show you this, know that the metals that we're showing you are inside these black carbon particles. So this is a amorphous particle, diameter 26 nanometers, and trace amorphous particles 17 nanometers right here. So these three types are single particle, nanometer black carbon loaded with frickin' metals. Now there's a lot more to this, and I could read it to you. What I'll do is I'm gonna hand this one over to chat. You guys dig into it. Here we go. Boom. Because what we're finding is that, with these sorts of things, people don't really want to understand, all the things that are going on. It's definitely different than what most people thought. And this paper is kind of confirming that. Right here, examples of tendon. Let me see if I can make that bigger for you guys to actually be able to read it. All right, let me get the chat out of the way. Boom. Examples of 10 to 20 nanometer onion-like single particles in jet exhaust observed via HRTM. The onion-like single particles with inner volume almost completely comprised of graphene-like layers, diameter 9.9 nanometers. Onion-like single particle with graphene-like layers only present in the outer shell region, B, here, extreme close-up. So you can actually see the rings here and here. In B, and then C, long onion-like single particles, 22.9 nanometers here. So these would be the ones that were closer to the engine exhaust, and then as you get further away, they break down into single particles. These are, perfectly sized to be a cloud condensation nuclei. This is what water condenses on to make the clouds. This is toxic AF. Just point blank, this is toxic AF. So these are the kinds of things that I'm going to be adding to chemtrailfacts.com in the near future. I'm trying to work it out to where I have all of these things in very fine detail so that people can understand the terminology, the technology, how it works in the atmosphere, how it forms cirrus clouds, why cirrus clouds matter. All this will be available on chemtrailfacts.com in the near future. And because I think that a lot of people are really missing the point on all this. And what I want you to do is I'm going to give you a quick sneak preview of what's going to be available. This is my Chemtrail Facts folder, okay? This is the stuff just that I've... Come on, you can do it. It really won't go any smaller than that. Yes, I have a shills folder. Okay, so there is a shills folder which shows the entire history of from William Thomas to Dane Wigington to Richard Fink to Clifford Carnicom to all of the people, including like when William Thomas actually made chemtrail conspiracy up in 1999. You can actually listen to him on Coast to Coast AM. I have all of them downloaded, and a whole lot more. You can look at that time that Dane Wigington wrote a paper about diminished solar charge capacities due to persistent jet contrails, which he wrote August 11th, 2007, before he appeared in What in the World Are They Spraying, and before he decided that contrails were not real. Interesting how people change over time. But I want to bring all these facts to the forefront so that people know the entire history of it. I got J. Marvin Herndon in here. Even Manic Cat, I might decide to add her to the list. She's been kind of thorn in my side. Pumps and pipes, every single pump and pipe you've ever seen in the entire planet will be on there. We just went through metals and CCN, contrail observation networks, contrail formation, a whole lot on that, contrail avoidance schemes and mitigation, the pylon drains, the metabunks, the high bypass turbofans, what the climate cult plans to do about it, some tanker enemy stuff, all the things on the jet fuel, including, the all of the additives, period, how it's related to geoengineering, all of that, flight data, numbers, statistics, all that good stuff. On-off chemtrails, how does it work? Why do they happen? Why do you have dashes in the sky? So yes, all of this is going to be on chemtrailfacts.com, and that does not include, the other things like, how about that gag order on the NOAA scientists? Where did that actually come from? Well, this is actually the original from 2010. We're going to get into all of that on the website and more. Just so much stuff that we're going to add to this that people have never, seen. You're just not going to see this stuff anywhere else. Like this jewel sent to me by Stella, who's in chat. What's up, Stella? Q Australia. Everybody hit subscribe on her channel. She's one of the moderators in my Telegram chat. And I had a real good time trolling people with this on X the other day. Let's see if we can find that real quick. I got really giddy about the whole Maduro thing, so I was having a ball with that. But, hey, and happy 2026. Here's me and my brother-in-law basically having redneck firework wars over the week, last week. Good times. No, that's not it. So it's clearly in the replies section. Let me come back up here to the top. I'm always on X trolling people. Let's see, because there should be like 4 photos in a row where I was bringing this up. Should be. Oh man, I really got into it with these people. This thread went on for like 2 days straight, and I just had enough of their crap. So, Jules like this. David, legislation can't stop contrails. I said, but capitalism and the climate cult can. Things like this, contrail management. You mean like this? Like ARPA Energy, this is Northrop Grumman contrail avoidance system. You mean like this? Like the pre-trails program, Cinco, contrail information for collaborative operations, ARPA-E pre-trails. I mean, these are just kind of the crap that I just drop on freaking X on a daily basis. They'll all be in one place. Shout out to my boy Missed Information for this link right here. Come on, make it full screen. Your button don't work. Why you no work? Anyway, these are all of the non-CO2 emission initiatives at the ICAO, like the RPE pre-trails, which you can see here, started in 2009. Maybe that's where, he was talking about the DARPA connection. It's RPE. Anyway, related to contrails, the Reviate program, a lot of these I'm already familiar with. There's 45 of them here, so you can just go through those and look at them. eClif 2 was a biofuels program, and they're listed out here. Trying out the SAF. SAF sucks. Sustainable aviation fuel. That wasn't the post I was looking for. The post I was looking for actually had some pictures with it from this study. Here we go. So I said things not mentioned in the so far. It's not just water vapor. 10 to 100 quadrillion ultrafine particles per second act as cloud condensation nuclei for water to condense on, form ice, spread out into man-made cirrus clouds and ice supersaturated regions. Linked to the Nature paper. Contrail mitigation and avoidance is possible. However, ice supersaturated region prediction currently has 50 to 80% error rate using the best satellite models. I could go on, but we'll start here. And you can see right here from this paper that I just brought up, Aviation, Contrails, and Their Climate Effect, Tackling Uncertainties and Enabling Solutions from 2024. They basically say, for years, scientists have been using weather data, either forecast or reanalysis, to use satellite data as inputs to predict ice supersaturated regions and contrail formation. However, when the estimated humidity is compared to in situ measurements on site, actually like radiosonde data, the result is poor. It is estimated that the error in humidity, which is a key parameter to classify an ice supersaturated region, can be around 50 to as high as 80%. So if they can't predict where the ISSRs are, they can't predict whether or not planes are going to create persistent contrails. They're not going to be able to predict whether planes will make chemtrails or contrails. Short contrails or big chemtrails. Just translating to everybody else's nomenclature. Contrail avoidance lessons learned from airline trials. Yes, they are trying this contrail avoidance. American Airlines, Air France, Delta Airlines, Etihad Airlines, in partnership with Satavia. Satavia is the one I just showed you with the that one. So that's Satavia. It now says Aerospace Carbon Solutions, which is interesting because at the top it still says Satavia Contrail Management. So it still says Satavia on the page, and this is their Decision X, which is actually going to ride in the cockpit and show you where the ice supersaturated regions are so they can fly around them. However, they've been failing miserably. And Lufthansa Airlines, DHL, Condor, TUI, in partnership with the DLR and DWD, blah, 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 blah. Because at the end of the day, like I said, 10 kilometers to about 20 kilometers, this is the tropopause, ISSR, and persistent contrails characterization. This is where they form. This is how they form. And above this line in the stratosphere, they don't form at all. So, moral of the story. if you're talking about, and that's the whole point of this picture, if you're talking about stratospheric aerosol injection, if you're talking about that kind of geoengineering, it does not make clouds. But if you're talking about planes leaving clouds in the sky, whether you call it a chemtrail or a contrail, once it fans out and blocks out the sun, it is neither. It is a cirrus cloud. And that is why cirrus clouds matter. So that's what we're going to be bringing to chemtrailfacts.com. I hope you guys may enjoy this. And for those guys who are watching, the infographic over here and seeing me having to convert from feet to kilometers all the time, that is because I am from America, and like Nothing Is As It Seems just said, what the frick is a kilometer? It's exactly how I feel every single. What is a kilometer? I am from South Carolina. We don't do that crap. Okay? So, and of course, Stella's from Australia. Well, she's like, what the frick is a mile? Said the rest of the world. And if you're from the UK, don't even chime in here with your stones and all that other stuff. Anyway, that's it from the imperialists over here in South Carolina for this metal dusting sky contrail conundrum video. I really appreciate you guys have stuck by me. I got a lot going on. I'm still working on the studio. I'm working on chemtrailfacts.com. Got a lot of other stuff going on in my life, trying to get my health, up to tip-top shape, working out and stuff like that. Changing our life, trying to, do this for the long haul and make it better every day, make it easier for you guys. So please support the channel by going to connect.climateviewer.com. Give a donation, please subscribe. If you're watching this video and you're on YouTube or Rumble, like 95% of the people watching the videos are not even subscribed. So like the video, share the video, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps with the algo, because the algo hates me because I'm not consistent. I will work on that. I promise. I will be more consistent in the future. But life's busy and I'm trying to do so many things. And I really think that the websites have a lot of value because they are references for so many people. The numbers on my websites are always amazing. The numbers on my videos are always fake, and you know what. So please bump that algorithm by hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video in weird ways with all your people, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much. We're going to have a beautiful 2026. It's going to be the best 2026 ever. We're going to win no matter what. And love you, mean it. Attack ideas, not people. If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.